Welcome to Get Offset. My name is Emily, and this is the newest edition, the second edition of Guitar Talk Talk, where I react to the best of, or whatever I've deemed the best of, or just something on hashtag Guitar Talk. This week I'm going to be looking at more controversial guitar opinions on TikTok. These are, as always, just like last time, stitches from the prompt from Just Us. I don't know, Hajas. Sorry, I'm bad with. I have no idea how that's supposed to be said. Sorry, buddy. If you would like to see more of these, please like, comment, and subscribe below. Most importantly, subscribe. If you like listening to me talk, check out the podcast. There's a podcast on iTunes and Spotify, all those kinds of fun places. Well, enough of that. Please enjoy the rest of the video and check out the previous video. Thank you so much. All right, let's get this party started. Got my LaCroix. I've got some things pulled up. I'll try to skip ones that I've already covered. So this is a new one.
Also, guitar opinion.
Guitarists who insist that tube amps still sound X amount better than amp modelers are playing a psychological trick on themselves. But it's not really their fault.
Okay.
Early guitar music that was recorded on tube amps was done so because that was state-of-the-art technology at the time.
Yeah.
Then when solid-state amps...
I gotta pause to say the effect he's doing is kind of distracting. So far he's saying that if you say that tube amps are better, you're playing a psychological trick on yourself, and so far I agree.
Amps came along, they tried to replicate that sound, it didn't quite sound the same. So the thinking became, well, tubes still outperform transistors, therefore tubes are better. And that way of thinking persists among a lot of people, even though technology has pretty much closed the gap at this point.
What's a controversial guitar?
Okay. So he's saying that, obviously, modelers can outperform tube amps or sound about the same. I do a lot of my demos, or have done. Right now, I do the Tone Master Super Reverb with a lot of my demos, and I don't get a ton of complaints about it. I really don't. Sometimes I do. Sometimes people will say, like, a boost or a dirt pedal doesn't sound as good through the Iridium. Though, I had somebody say, that what I was using didn't sound good through the Iridium, and then I commented, I wasn't using the Iridium. And, no, they said what I was doing didn't sound good through the Tone Master because they saw the Tone Master in the background. I'm like, I wasn't using the Tone Master, I was using the Iridium, as was literally stated in the header in the video, which the title of the video said, with the Strymon Iridium and the boost pedal. And for the record, I thought it sounded good. I think the Iridium sounds really, really natural, and I think that you'd be really hard-pressed to listen to, like, music on the radio and say that person's using a modeler. And this has been the case for decades in recorded music. Listen to pop music and tell me when something is a real kick drum versus a MIDI kick drum or a sample kick drum. You can't. And you know what? Just literally always say, my collar is weird, let me fix it. Just literally always say it's MIDI or fake, because it almost always is, because them's hard to record. And that's the thing, is that you can't really tell very often. And if you say you can, maybe you can, but probably not. And sometimes if it's an A-B and everything else is stripped out, sometimes you can tell, but when it's in a mix, it's a lot harder to tell. And so yeah, I agree. People are often shocked when I'm like, all my demos pretty much are the Strymon Iridium or the Tone Master. They're like, oh, wow, sounds good. Oh.
What's a controversial guitar opinion?
Let's hit these rapid fucking fire. There's more guitar music in the mainstream now than there has been in fucking decades. Even the most, like, mainstream and pop artists are using distorted guitars, and that's a fucking good thing. Pedal...
Maybe a little bit. Maybe it's getting there. But I actually did have my husband do an analysis he and I were working on an analysis for an article that didn't actually happen because I just got really busy with paid assignments that I was just too busy to pitch my own articles that required a lot of research. So we just kind of stopped doing this. We went through the Billboard Hot 100. We were going through it year by year, listening to every single track from about, I think the data that we had started in about 2003 or 2005, and we were going through it year by year. And we actually were seeing a decrease in the number of songs that had a discernible guitar. So I think that maybe now that's changing a bit, but as of like a year ago, I think that as far as the Hot 100 is concerned, that might be demonstrably false. Sorry.
Pedal boards are for fucking nerds.
Pedal boards are for nerds? Yeah, okay. I fine being a nerd. I'm fine being a nerd if it means that my shit's just not sprawled on the floor.
Sweet picking is fucking lame.
Okay. You know what? As far as talking about things like being lame or for nerds, I think that nothing makes you seem like more of just an asshole than saying something is for nerds or is lame. Because nothing makes you seem more insecure, I should say, than saying something is lame or for nerds. Because honestly, like, just let people do what they're doing. And this guy's young. Like, he has lots of shits to give, and I'm just kind of out of them. I don't care what people do, as long as nobody's getting hurt.
Pop musicians are better than rock musicians on all fronts.
Yeah. Often. Because pop musicians, people who are actually musicians in pop music, they often have to learn more about theory. They have to work with other musicians a lot more. They have to work in different genres a lot more frequently. So yeah, I would agree that they have to be better musicians because someone can replace them like that. But rock musicians, typically you're just working with your own band. You're working on your own thing and you just have to singularly focus in on that. So for the most part, you don't have to be as well-rounded as a musician. So yeah, I would agree with that one.
Writing pop hits is not easy. If it
No.
was so easy, everyone would do it. And if you can do it so well, then fucking do it. Do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy. Okay. But the thing is, a pop hit, the hardest part is really connection. So I think almost the harder part of like having a pop hit is there's so much at play in having a pop hit. It's not just about the song. There's this whole marketing machine behind it. Obviously, if the song sucks, it's never going to connect, and you got nothing. But there have been a lot of pop songs that have been really, really bad. They just catch your earworms. And there are formulas, like there are things in pop music that are just like, they're not good, but it's going to make it like hit a lot harder. Things like repetition. There are formulaic things in pop music that you can do to manipulate someone people into responding to your song a lot better. Like I said, repetition and, tension and release. And those are things that you need to understand and know. And that's part of writing. But, there's a lot of money that goes into a pop hit, too.
Do it, you goddamn pussy. Gear.
Stop fucking... See the things with, like, these really aggressive dudes on these guitar things? Last week was the Esmodee guy and then the pussy insult thing. I'm like, you guys gotta get more creative with your insults. You children.
Gear culture is just hypebeast culture for incel nerds. It's
Maybe. I mean, you're kind of seeming like a... you kind of like... Okay. You're giving off the vibes a little bit, dude. You're talking about you're being really aggressive about this. Like, I don't want to insult this guy on a personal level, but he's, like, going for the insults a lot. Like, why are you going after all of gear culture? Because there are obviously pockets of it that are really, really bad. I'm not going to name names because I don't want them coming at me particularly. But, like, it's not all bad. It's just like find the good corners and stay there, and you know the bad corners and avoid them.
This one's gonna ruffle some jimmies. Squires are good guitars.
Who's gonna get? Okay, there's one guy and the Esmody guy in the other video. He would get mad at that, but who's getting mad at these? Like I swear, most of the time when someone says this is going to make somebody real mad, they give the most, like, tame, the tamest of their, like, opinions is what follows. This is going to make somebody real mad. Squires are good, actually. Like, come on, man. Say something actually, like, I still think the most, like, controversial opinion was that, like, last week's video was when the guy was like, the reason guitars aren't in more pop music is because guitar culture's more interested in, like, showing off than, like, fitting the music. I still think that was the most controversial guitar opinion I've heard.
Too many guitarists focus on things that the general public would never fucking notice, right? Like, no one's gonna care that you're not using what you deem to be the right string gauge. You're noticing things.
No one cares about your string gauge. That's for you personally. That's why Billy Gibbons plays eights. Because no, he doesn't care. Like, Billy Gibbons doesn't care that other people are thinking about his... dude. Nobody... I'm done with this guy, sorry.
What's a controversial guitar?
That was just too many opinions.
Being good at the guitar is not a replacement for not having a personality.
Being good at guitar is not a replacement for not having a personality. I agree with that. Some people make guitar their whole personality, myself included.
It's way easier to practice guitar scales than it is to practice being an interesting, good fucking person.
It's easier to practice guitar scales than it is to be an interesting practice being an interesting person.
And these dudes know it. That's why they spend so much time on TikTok trying to assert their fucking dominance. Gives them an outlet to escape their insecurities and hide from the fact that they're gonna fucking die alone. What, you really?
It's like these guys on TikTok know it. It gives them, they're on TikTok to, like, hide their insecurities and the fact that they're gonna die alone. Whoa! Oh my gosh, this guy is intense.
What we need to be a good fucking guitar player is compassion,
Wow, his audio just got better.
empathy, a big heart, and most importantly, a lot of fucking zoink.
What's a
What was it? Can someone tell me what that last word was? I'm not gonna... Whatever.
Importantly, a lot of fucking zoink.
I still can't... I don't know. Zoink. Zoink. Sure. You know, yeah, it's easy. It's like a lot of people make their hobbies their whole personality. I think that's why there's such a market for, like, the kitschiest guitar related crap that people can buy. Like, I'm looking at you, the keychain that's like the input jack with that you can plug into the wall. Like, I hate that thing so much. I hate all the kitschy stuff that you can buy that's related to guitar stuff. And I don't think those things are really made for guitarists. I'm not the only one who said that. But yeah. I agree with that opinion. You know, I think that it's never make one thing your whole personality because it makes you impossible to talk to. It makes you a really boring person. I think that we should all aim to be well-rounded people. And we should do that for ourselves and for our loved ones. Because I think otherwise life is very boring. There's no one thing in my life that I just want and that's it, you know. I feel really left out when there's something I can't talk about at a party. And I make it my goal to learn more about that thing. My band all likes video games, so I learn more about video games and play more video games now. And you know, I really like them. I have a lot of fun. I used to like to play video games and I started playing guitar and then I stopped playing video games. Now I'm do both. Still play a lot more guitar.
The only people who care how fast you play are other guitar players.
What's a
You know what? I actually maybe, but I still think that lay people who don't play guitar, are going to be impressed when you can play fast. I think they're probably more impressed. I think non-guitarists are more impressed when you can play fast. I think they're the most impressed. Because I think like actual guitar players, though they know how difficult it is to play fast and play fast well, I think they know that that's not everything in life.
Vintage gear doesn't sound better because it's old. When they made those old recordings whose sound we enjoy, the gear was new. I'll entertain the idea that maybe the manufacturing process might be different then than now, but aging doesn't really come into play. In fact, with regards to things like tuning stability and intonation, there's better technology now.
What's a controversial guitar opinion?
I wouldn't say... I don't know if it's a matter of good or better as far as like the vintage gear. I think it's about, you know, getting that sound that has probably, some people would say it hasn't been replicated properly, and that's kind of what it is. But, you know, I think it was maybe the first video in this Guitar Talk. I don't know if I'm ever going to say that right. That, you know, the reason we think modeling is not as good as tube amps is just because, you know, we're fooling ourselves. There's that vibe of Mojo. There's also the thing about, you know, the whole idea of status. And, you know, there are only so many of a thing in a world. People, you know, they still humans like to collect things. We just do. Most people, you know, there's something that they like to collect. Be it guitars or little itty bitty little spoons, bobbleheads, you know, trading cards, baseball cards. I think most people have a little bit of something that they like to, you know, collect even just a little bit. And I think in most of those spaces, there's something that's old. And it doesn't make it better, you know. Is your great-grandmother's cast iron skillet better than a modern cast iron skillet? No, it's the same technology. Maybe even better technology, you know. I have a cast iron skillet that I can use on not a gas range, and that's important because they're not really making houses with gas range up here anymore. So does that make it better than my great grandmother's cast iron skillet? For me, yeah. But I think people will still think there's some mojo in, you know, a vintage cast iron skillet or an old car. So, you know, that's how people feel. That's how people feel. All right, now I got to get some more videos loaded up. That guy was long.
Marshall to sound good. There are other.
Here we go.
What's a controversial guitar opinion?
You don't need a Marshall to sound good. There are other cabs and amps that sound great, and possibly even better than a Marshall. They were just
I mean, is that controversial? Because I think everyone will agree there are other amplifiers and cabinets that sound good. Even people who like Marshalls, I think, will agree that there are other options.
was popular back then because they were the loudest amp at the time.
Yeah.
What's a controversial guitar? What's a controversial guitar opinion?
It's okay to sit instead of stand while playing guitar.
It is okay. It is okay to sit instead of standing. I'm with you, lady. Cinema Hearts. I'm with you. It's okay to sit instead of standing. I do it in practicing. I do it in actual band practice. Sometimes I do it when I'm filming demos. I'll be doing it later. Y'all, I stubbed my toe so badly. I'm actually kind of worried. I'm kind of worried I bruised a bone. I'm not worried I broke a bone. But I can't really put any pressure on it right now. I'm getting old. This is actually the first other controversial opinion I've seen from a woman. A+. Fantastic.
What's a controversial guitar opinion?
My controversial opinion is that I like Gibson guitars, and even more so, I like them more than Fender.
That actually has been pretty controversial from all these other controversial opinions, because this is the first controversial opinion about Gibson that has not been that Gibson sucks. But I think what we can say is not controversial is that this hat I got in my Premier Guitar box with this little brim thing is not my style. That's not a controversial opinion. I'm wearing a different beanie. This is not for me. I'm sorry. Sorry, Jenny.
I'm gonna get a lot of slander for that on this app.
What's a controversial guitar opinion?
The whole speed versus feel thing only exists among lazy musicians or ones with lousy technique. A lot of the time.
Lousy technique, yeah.
Sometimes serving the song means playing something tricky. Less isn't more. More is more. And sometimes that's not enough.
More is more, and sometimes it's not enough. Yeah, you know, he's right. Sometimes more is more. Sometimes less is more. And I think that it really does matter that you have to take it on a song by song basis. But I think that's so many of us have been in that position where I think that we've all been around guitarists who have erred on the side of doing too much. And I think it's very easy for us to do too much as guitarists. We want to be front, center, almost center stage. And even I, as someone who tries not to overplay, I've been in positions where I've been, playing with somebody and they'll ask me to hey, play less. And it's okay, you're the boss. All right.
If you complain about other guitarists' tones on the internet, you're the reason why guitarists don't get laid anymore.
No, that's not. If you're not getting laid, you're the reason you're not getting laid. That's the reason. You cannot blame anybody else in the world on you not getting laid. You are the reason you're not getting laid. Guys, gals, you are the reason you're not getting laid. You need to hear it. I am so sorry to be the one to tell you. It's not about, if you're playing guitar to get laid, that's a bad reason to play guitar. It's a bad reason to do most things. I'm sorry. It's a stupid thing. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. I get it's a joke, but I think people still think this. Are guitarists not getting laid anymore? I also don't think that's true. Is it? Is it true?
This is going to spark some heat. Rock and roll has been on life support for as long as I have been alive. And it deserves to be.
How old do we think he is? 24. That's my guess. 22. I don't know. He's a baby.
The essence of rock and roll is change, innovation, and growth. And we, the fans, have not cultivated that in the slightest. Quite the opposite. There have been very few songs that have come out in my entire lifetime that I've seen that have seemed innovative or interesting at all. They all just sound the same. They all follow the formulaic system of how to write a rock and roll song, and they suck. Also, I'm going to call out lead guitarist here, and this is coming from a dude that loves guitar solos, who plays lead guitar and loves it. Stop playing long solos. No one wants to hear it. That's why your genre is dying. It's just a masturbatory thing of, look at how many things I can play. No one cares. No one wants to listen to it. You're boring. You're repetitive. And you're not Jimmy Page. You're not Jimi Hendrix. You're not freaking David Gilmour. You suck. I'm sorry. Quit playing long solos.
I don't think this guy is listening to the right rock music. I just don't. Dude, listen to better rock music. If you're only listening to the rock music that's on the radio, you're probably going to get really bored because there's, one, not a lot of options, and two, it's bad. If you're listening to some more, I hate to say underground stuff, I think you're probably going to be a lot more impressed. So, I still think that Big Thief put out the best rock record of, 2020, so... Yes. I don't know. It's not... genres have to change and they have to evolve. They also have to, keep to their roots. So if that guy is, 20... 21, 22. He was born like 2000. I mean, like, rock music hasn't been like at the forefront of the charts since then. So he was born around the time that like nu metal was kind of big and hip hop really took off. Like the charts were really dominated by hip hop. Then emo took up a lot of steam as far as rock based stuff. There's a lot of pop punk, which is really fun. And then we look at like 2007 and era. There's like Broken Social Scene and Vampire Weekend and that kind of stuff. Kind of like preppy pop, preppy rock kind of stuff, like collegiate rock. What were they calling that? It was very Ivy League rock, I think. Ivy League rock. Like, dude, just fucking listen to shit on Matador Records. Like, go listen to Matador Records, go listen to Beggars Group, Merge, Sub Pop. Like, go listen to some stuff that's not, like, being pushed by a major label. I think you're probably going to be happier.
What's a controversial guitar opinion?
Bands are no longer a viable business model in the music industry.
What's a controversial...
He's not wrong, and I've actually seen some of his follow-up videos on that. He's not wrong. And you know, labels have been trying to get bands to go, like, break up for forever. That's such, like, a movie cliche, but it's true. Because let's look at this from a mathematical perspective. Let's say there's 4 people in a band. That means those people have to split that money 4 ways. You got just one solo person. That person's making all the money. So that's one, and making all the creative choices versus having to split that creative endeavor 4 ways. You know, it just makes things a lot easier from that in those 2 regards. Makes everything a lot easier. From the label perspective, they don't have to like deal with a bunch of egos. They just get the hired guns. They can swap them out. Get different looks for different tours as they see fit. I mean, think about, like, example. Oh, sorry, over here. Prince. Prince would have a different band every couple of years, depending on the sound of the record, the look for the tour. Like, he had his early band. He swapped them out for the Revolution. After Parade Tour, he wanted a different look, so he swapped out the Revolution for a new band. Did a completely different thing. He had complete creative control. Didn't have to mess around with other people. Now it's even harder to just have a whole band sustained for a tour, even, or a record cycle, or anything. God, it's a lot of money. Like, you get an advance from a record label, that's like what you live on for a year. It's what you record with, and it's what you have to recoup. Plus marketing expenses, plus every expense is involved in promoting that record before you make a penny. I apologize for the computer sound that just happened. It's a lot, and that money goes a lot faster with a band. It goes a lot slower and comes back a lot faster when it's just you. Yeah.
What's a controversial guitar opinion?
You don't need a headstock.
Technically, he's not wrong. I disagree with him a lot, though. Let's see. Load more. Oh my god.
Controversial guitar opinion.
Hey guys, me again. I know I said that was probably the last one, but I lied. Amps are dumb, and I don't ever use them.
They're getting dumber. You know, I was watching some video where someone was talking about like prop amps on big stages, and someone was like, "You go to a local show, you get real amps, you still real push there," and I was like, "Local musician here, I use a modeler on stage. You're not getting a real amp from me. You're not getting a real amp from some of my band members. Like, you see a keyboard player on stage, they're not using an amp. See an acoustic guitar on stage, they're not using an amp. Why the hell should I? You see a bassist on stage, they're DIing that bass anyway. The only reason they tell a bassist to use an amp on stage is for personal monitoring, so I got my IEMs for that now. Why should I cart around extra trash? Screw it. Cheers, buddy. I took over. What's next?
What's a controversial guitar opinion?
If you can't be a rhythm guitar player, you're not a professional guitar player.
You gotta get the basics. If you can't do the basics, work on your non-dominant hand technique, or work on your strumming hand technique. If you play guitar right-handed, work on your right hand technique, or just throw the baby out with the bathwater.
What's a controversial guitar opinion?
The average person does not give a shit about your guitar tone. A $50 amp, a $5,000 amp, it doesn't matter. They just care how the song makes them feel. And that's priceless.
I'm going to say, they care a little. They're going to care a little. They will, because if it's really, really good, if you're doing something weird, wild, crazy, that is just super cool and super unique, they will poop their pants. They will go like, what's that Thundercat song with the two basses and one has that envelope filter with like, it sounds almost like God, what is that song? I can't think of it, but like any layperson will hear that tone and go, what is that? Even lay people will hear like tone sound effects, and a cool effect can trigger that, like, what is that wonder, that mystery. I believe that. That's a hill I will die on. And if your tone sounds like ass through a $50 amp, they're not gonna want to listen to it. Like, if the song is really good, that can cut through a lot of it for sure. And if it connects with them, like, that can get past a lot of stuff. Like a bad singer or someone who's not like a great singer, like David Berman from the Silver Jews and Purple Mountains. Like, he's not a great singer, but his songs were so good and the production was always so good that a lot of people could get past that. But like there had to be a lot of other good stuff there, and he was still like a great passable singer, and he wrote songs that were really well suited to his voice. So if you can write songs that are well suited to your tone, that's awesome. But man, if your guitar tone is so bad that it makes people's like ears hurt, like if it's got a lot of mids and it's causing like ear fatigue or something like that, no one's gonna want to listen to it no matter how good the song is. I'm sorry. Like, you can't get past like physically hurting people's ears, but if you can like get a good enough tone with a $50 amp, sure, whatever.
What's a controversial guitar opinion?
Sweep picking really isn't that hard, and the only thing I think when you do it for more than a second or two is how instead of using your time to become a more well-rounded guitarist, you instead learned how to play scales really quickly for the sake of that one guy at a Megadeth t-shirt at the back of every lame show I've ever been to. Thank you, and listen to some goddamn Freddie King, please.
What's a
He was talking too fast.
What's a controversial guitar opinion?
Also, I like how he was holding the guitar and then did not demonstrate what he was talking about. Thank you?
There is nothing wrong with buying a cheap production model guitar and hot rodding it and making it better.
I don't think that should be controversial anymore. See, that's like some of these controversial opinions aren't controversial, I don't think. I don't think that anybody with... Okay, I'll take it back. I think anybody with like, oh God, what's the word I'm looking for? Anybody who's secure as a guitarist and a human being shouldn't find that controversial. If you're a really insecure guitarist, maybe you'll find a lot of these things controversial, but if you're like, live and let live as a guitarist, you do you. Not controversial.
What's a controversial guitar opinion?
Prince was a more dynamic, well-rounded guitarist than 95% of rock and metal guitarists. And this is coming from somebody who's primarily a metal guitarist.
Yes!
What's a controversial guitar opinion?
Not controversial. Shouldn't be controversial. But it probably is. It probably is a little controversial. You know, when you look at some of those best guitarist lists, Prince is listed pretty low. And I think it's because he kind of put down his guitar for a while in his career to like be more of a showman / performer. And I think he did that to like more attract like a pop audience versus a rock one. It did great for his career. He's a phenomenal guitarist, but a lot of what he did was very much almost like calisthenics. And that's coming from one of his guitarists. That's a direct quote from Wendy Melvoin, I think. So But yeah, just phenomenal. If you all you have to do is listen to the intro to When Doves Cry, some of that, so just listen to it and be like, "Jeez, that was fast and good. Damn, man." Got my three princes.
What's a controversial guitar opinion?
People spend way too much time buying equipment and researching and learning about equipment and not enough time practicing. And I know for a fact, because I used to do this too, and now I notice that as I've gotten better, suddenly I feel like my equipment's gotten better. It's because it's the operator, not the equipment that matters.
What's a controversial...
What do they say in tech? Error exists between user and keyboard. Yeah. You know... Yeah, you can buy all the toys in the world, and they're not going to make you a better player. And I know that I professionally sell the things. I implore people to practice. I love practicing. I know not everybody loves practicing. I really do. I love playing guitar. I love just plugging straight into an amp or something and just playing guitar. I'm going to do it later. I'm going to do it when this video's over. I'm going to play some Christmassy shit. I'm very excited about it.
What's a controversial guitar opinion?
Active basses are better than passive basses.
Okay. I was hoping for a why. That guy's last video was like 3 minutes long. And he didn't give a why on that one. I don't have an opinion on that. Is that controversial? Let me know in the comments.
Controversial guitar opinion.
Changing strings with a floating bridge is not hard to do and should be basic knowledge for every rock or metal guitar player. You just don't want to learn how to do it.
Controversial.
I feel the same way about restringing a Bigsby, and I feel the same way about restringing vintage style tuners. It's not hard. It can just be a pain in the ass. You want to restring a Bigsby? Get a capo and a piece of foam. Easy breezy.
Controversial guitar opinion.
Oops. Next.
What's a controversial guitar opinion?
That compressor in your signal chain is just raising the noise floor. It's not doing what you think it's doing.
If you're using it wrong, are you using it wrong? Maybe you should use it right. Maybe you should use it right.
What's a controversial guitar opinion?
Using music theory as a crutch destroys your originality and creativity as far as songwriting goes, and it's called music theory for a reason. Do whatever the fuck you want.
Sure.
What's a controversial guitar opinion?
I wish I had more to say about that, but I'm like, okay. Yeah, do whatever you want. I don't think most guitarists know shit about music theory to begin with, so I don't really understand. I think most guitarists are like, yeah, I don't know anything about music theory. Like, I'm like primarily like in my like most formal training is like jazz guitarist. Even me, it was like, just learn the chord shapes, learn the modes. It's fine. You'll figure it out. You don't really need to know every little thing about the theory. But the basis is like, you gotta know the theory. The guitar, even me, like the guitars are like, I don't care. This is gonna be the last one, because I'm running out of steam.
Aesthetic is everything, and tone, well, more specifically, fidelity, is overrated. So many
Tone is not fidelity. Those are different things.
guitarists, I swear, hear their tone through their eyes or their wallets or their preconceived notions rather than using their ears to listen to it in context. In the context of a live show, or even on a record in the context of a more lush, complicated arrangement, nobody's really going to be able to tell the difference or even care. I was carrying around my pedal board with all my different pedals around New York City. I was so worried about it all the time that I decided to just get one of these as my only pedal board. And guess what?
Good.
I started getting more compliments on my tone than before when I just had the pedal board. It made my life...
I mean, I love, like, I have played with the Pod Go, and I think it sounds great also. And there's probably a lot less that's potentially going wrong. A lot less, like, as far as buffers. Maybe your tone actually does sound better through the HX Stomp, and maybe it's actually just a great improvement upon what your tone was. I don't know. I don't know your life
a lot easier too. I mean, that's huge. Listeners, your audience.
Oh my god, this $1,000 unit sounds better than my $500 pedal collection. I actually don't know what his life was, so I shouldn't say that. But like, I think it's really weird to say like, oh, this this really luxurious and incredible floorboard unit sounds better than a pedal board. I'm like, yes, sure, I believe that.
All they care about is that you have chorus on the guitar when it matters. They don't care how good it sounds. So turn on the pedal, make it sound good enough. Stop spending so much time tone hunting.
I care how my chorus sounds. You know, it's like my husband took really long to get ready for something, and we were late to something, and he said, well, if anybody gets mad that we're late, like, I don't care. And I was like, no, you don't get it. I'm mad that we're late. I'm mad. I am mad at you that we're late. I don't know if anyone else is going to be mad, but I am mad. And he's like, oh. So, I mean, like, I care about my tone. Am I not allowed to care about, like, I want to have pride in what I do. And also, the chorus on the line 6 effects sound really good. I don't know what point he's making. It's not like he's, like, pulling out, like, an Amazon Basics unit. This is a really, like, premium unit he's showing off. It's a great floorboard unit. It's not like a budget effect. I don't understand the point he thinks he's making.
And fiddling with knobs and spend more time playing and practicing.
I definitely think we should spend more time playing and practicing, but I just don't understand the point that he thinks he's making in that one. Cool. So, all right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this week's version of Guitar Talk Tuesdays. My goodness, that is a mouthful. Sorry about that. Please like, comment, subscribe below. Check us out at patreon.com/getoffset. We have merch at getoffsetpodcast.com/shop. And if you want to buy anything at all in the world, check out our affiliate links in the video description, especially the Sweetwater link is really helpful. It means a lot. It costs you $0 extra, but we do get a little bit of a kickback. It helps keep this channel going. And please check us out on TikTok. The TikTok username is GetOffset, just like it is here. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for understanding. Until next time, my name is Emily. Goodbye.